Now we come to the next sutta. This one is about the same, 4.10.94. It's almost the same as the previous one, except that it explains that, I'll just read a part here. How are the conditioners to be regarded? How are the conditioners to be understood? How are the conditioners to be seen into? This is a person who has attained tranquilization of the mind, but not the wisdom from contemplation. And if he has not attained the wisdom from contemplation, he should approach one who has done so and ask him this question. How are the conditioners to be regarded? How are the conditioners to be understood? How are the conditioners to be seen into? So you see from here that when the higher wisdom from inside is meant, the understanding of the sankharas. Sankhara here is translated as conditioner. Conditioners are those things which condition some other thing. And they are also conditioned things. Everything in the world are conditioned as well as conditioners. So, like body is a conditioned thing, it is also a conditioner. Feelings, perception, volition, consciousness, these are all sankharas, conditioners. And so, they have to be understood to get the insight into the states. And that's all I need to say about this sutta. Now the next sutta is 4.10.95. The Buddha said, monks, these four persons are found existing in the world. What for? He who is bent neither on his own profit nor on the profit of another. He who is bent on another's profit but not on his own. He who is bent on his own profit, not another's. And he who is bent on the profit both of himself and of another. Just as monks, a firebrand from a funeral pyre, blazing at both ends and in the middle smeared with dung, serves no purpose as fuel in village or as timber in forest. Using such a figure do I speak of this person who is bent neither on his own profit nor on another's. Then monks, this person who is bent on another's profit but not his own is more excellent and exalted of these two persons. Again monks, this person who is bent on his own profit, not another's, is more excellent and exalted of these three persons. Whereas he who is bent on the profit both of self and of another is of these four persons chief and best, topmost, highest and supreme. Just as monks, from a cow comes milk, from milk cream, from cream butter, from butter ghee, from ghee the skimmings of ghee, and that is reckoned the best. Even so, this person who is bent on his own profit as well as on the profit of another is of these four persons chief and best, topmost, highest and supreme. These four persons, monks, are found existing in the world. This sutta is about, refers to the spiritual path, because the next sutta, sutta number 96, explains that a person bent on his own profit, not on another's profit, is a person who practices the restraint of passion, hatred and delusion, but does not encourage another person to practice the restraint of passion, hatred and delusion. So you can see that this sutta is concerned with the spiritual path, and you notice the first one, he's bent neither to his own profit or on another's profit. That means he does not cultivate himself and does not encourage another person to cultivate himself. This is a useless person, just like a piece of wood from a funeral pyre that's already smoking and burning. It can't be used as fuel, and it also cannot be used as timber. Then the second person is slightly better. The second person is bent on another's profit but not on his own. That means he encourages another person to cultivate himself, but he does not cultivate his own self. He's slightly better. And the third person, who is even better, is a person who is bent on his own profit but not another's. That means he cultivates himself, but he does not encourage another person to improve himself. And the best is the person who cultivates himself as well as encourages other people to improve themselves spiritually. So from this sutta you find an interesting point here is that the second person is the one who is bent on another's profit but not of his own is lower than the person who is bent on his own profit but not another's. In other words, the Buddha is saying that if we practice the spiritual path ourselves but not encourage others to practice, this is better than another person who does not practice to cultivate himself, but he encourages other people to practice. Why? Because this is something that some people find difficult to understand, because some people, they have the idea that a person who cultivates himself, for example, a person who meditates, stays alone to meditate, that he's selfish. Whereas another person who is helping other people but not himself, he is better. But in the Buddha's teaching, this is not so, because basically most people, we love ourselves the most of all the persons in the world because of our ego. There's nobody we are more concerned with than the self. This is pointed out in another sutta later, we'll come across. So if we say that we are only concerned with other people's good but not of ourselves, and trying to think to go around helping other people but not yourself, then in a way you are kind of bluffing yourself, because there's no person more important to you than your own self. And we have to recognize this. So if we cultivate ourselves, then later we can help other people also. But of course, if you can do both, that is the very best. Now we come to another sutta, 4.10.100. Pottalia, the wanderer, came to visit the Exalted One, and on coming to him, greeted him courteously, etc., sat down to one side, etc. As he sat at one side, the Exalted One said this to Pottalia, the wanderer. Pottalia, these four persons are found existing in the world. What for? Herein, Pottalia, a certain person speaks in dispraise of what deserves not praise, seasonably saying what is a fact and true. But he does not speak in praise of what deserves praise in like manner. Again, Pottalia, a certain person speaks in praise of what deserves it, but not in dispraise of what deserves not praise, saying seasonably what is a fact and true. Yet again, Pottalia, a certain person speaks neither in dispraise of what deserves not praise, nor in praise of the praiseworthy, saying seasonably what is a fact and true. Once more, Pottalia, a certain person speaks both in dispraise of what deserves not praise, and in praise of what is praiseworthy, saying seasonably what is a fact and true. These, Pottalia, are the four persons found existing in the world. Now, Pottalia, of these four, which person in your view is to be accounted most admirable and rare? And then Pottalia said, of these four persons, Master Gotama, he who speaks neither in dispraise of what deserves not praise, nor in praise of the praiseworthy, saying seasonably what is a fact and true, this person, in my view, is to be accounted most admirable and rare of these four. Why so? Because, Master Gotama, his indifference is admirable. And the Buddha said, now, Pottalia, these four persons found existing in the world. Of these four persons, Pottalia, I maintain that he who speaks in dispraise of what deserves not praise, and in praise of what is praiseworthy, saying seasonably what is a fact and true, he is the most admirable and rare. Why so? Because, Potalya, his discrimination of proper occasions is admirable. And Potalya said, well, Master Gotama, these 4 persons are found in the world. Of these 4, Master Gotama, he who speaks in dispraise of what deserves not praise, and in praise of the praiseworthy, saying seasonably what is a fact and true, he, as you say, is the most admirable and rare. Why so? Because, Master Gotama, his discrimination of proper occasions is admirable. It is excellent, Master Gotama. It is wonderful, Master Gotama. Just as if, Master Gotama, one should raise the fallen, or show forth the hidden, or point the way to him that wanders astray, or hold up a light in the darkness so that they who have eyes may see objects. Even so, in diverse ways has Dhamma been set forth by the worthy Gotama. I do go for refuge to the worthy Gotama. May the worthy Gotama accept me as a lay disciple from this day forth, as long as life lasts, as one who has gone to refuge, who has gone to him for refuge. This quite an interesting sutta about these 4 persons. One, he speaks in dispraise of what is bad, what is blamable. He says it is blamable, but what is praiseworthy he does not praise. That's the first one. Second one, he gives praise to what deserves praise, but he does not put blame on what is blamable. And the third one, he neither praises or blames. And the fourth one, he both blames what deserves blame and praises what deserves praise. Now, of these 4, the Buddha says the last one is most admirable. Sometimes people may have a different opinion. If you did not study this sutta, sometimes you would think, it is good to praise somebody if he deserves praise. But if he is blameworthy, we should not blame him. We should not say bad, not talk bad about somebody. But here the Buddha is saying that we should speak very straightforwardly what is true, what is worthy of praise, we praise. What is worthy of blame, we blame. But however, we must consider very carefully whether it is what is our motive in speaking. Is it a good motive or is it a bad motive? Is it going to do any harm to yourself or is it going to do any harm to another person? And whether we are speaking at the right time, etc. So these are the certain things we should consider when we praise or we blame. But the Buddha is trying to tell us that it is good to speak straight. Then another sutta is 4.11.101. On a certain occasion, the Exalted One was staying near Savatthi at Jeta Grove in Anathapindika's park. Then the Exalted One addressed the monks, saying, "Monks." "Yes, Lord," replied those monks to the Exalted One. The Exalted One said this, "Monks, there are these 4 rain clouds. What for? The thunderer, not the rainer. The rainer, not the thunderer. The neither thunderer nor rainer. The both thunderer and rainer. These are the 4. In like manner, monks, these 4 persons resembling rain clouds are to be found existing in the world. What for? The thunderer, not the rainer. The rainer, not the thunderer. The neither thunderer nor rainer. The both thunderer and rainer. These are the 4. Now, monks, how is a person a thunderer but no rainer? In this case, monks, a person speaks but acts not. Thus he is one who thunders but rains not. Just as that cloud thunders but rains not, so using this figure do I speak of this person. And how, monks, is a person a rainer but no thunderer? In this case, monks, a person is one who acts but speaks not. Thus he is one who reigns but thunders not. Just as that cloud, using this figure do I speak of this person. And how, monks, is a person one who is neither thunderer nor rainer? In this case, a person neither speaks nor acts. Thus he is neither thunderer nor rainer. And how, monks, is a person both thunderer and rainer? In this case, a person both speaks and acts. Thus he is both thunderer and rainer. So these are the 4 persons found existing in the world. This is one of the suttas where you can see the Buddha, even when he's speaking Dhamma, he's a bit humorous. Thunderer is a person who speaks a lot, and rainer is a person who acts. So there are certain people, they speak but they don't act. There's some people, they act but they don't speak. And there's people and don't speak and don't act. And there's some people both act and both speak. So we can see this in other persons, but it's good sometimes to examine ourselves, to see what kind of person we are. Another sutta, 4.11.103. Monks, there are these 4 pots. What 4? The closed and empty, the open and full, the open and empty, and the closed and full pot. In like manner, monks, there are these 4 persons resembling pots to be found existing in the world. What 4? The closed and empty, the open and full, the open and empty, and the closed and full. And now, monks, how is a person closed and empty? In this case, the looks of a certain person is charming, whether he be departing or approaching, looking forward or backward, bending or unbending, bearing outer robe or bowl and robe. But he understands not, as it really is, the meaning of this is dukkha, this is the arising of dukkha, this is the ceasing of dukkha, this is the path that leads to the ceasing of dukkha. Thus, monks, a person is closed and empty, just as that pot which is closed and empty. Even so, using this figure do I speak of this person. I'll just stop here for a while to explain a bit. Here, when the Buddha says closed, he means like a closed pot. You don't know the contents inside the pot, So in the same way, if a person is charming, in his looks, in his actions, etc., he looks very good. So he is like the closed pot, You don't know. It's hard to tell from his looks, because this person is so charming, etc., whether he's really empty or full. Empty or full, in a way, it's like our Chinese, we say yao liu, mo liu. So whether that person has substance or no substance. So because he is, his looks are good, it's hard to tell. That's why he's like a closed pot. And then the Buddha continued. And how, monks, is a person open and full? In this case, the looks of a certain person is not charming, etc. But he does understand, as it really is, the meaning of this is dukkha. This is the arising of dukkha. This is the ceasing of dukkha. This is the path that leads to the ceasing of dukkha. Thus is this person open and full. And how, monks, is a person open and empty? In this case, neither the looks of that person are charming, etc., nor does he understand the meaning of this is dukkha, this is the arising of dukkha, etc. Thus is this person open and empty. And how, monks, is a person closed and full? In this case, the looks of a certain person is charming, etc. And he does understand, as it really is, the meaning of this is dukkha, this is the arising of dukkha, this is the ceasing of dukkha, this is the path that leads to the ceasing of dukkha. Thus is a person closed and full, just as that pot is closed and full. Even so, using this figure do I speak of this person. So these monks are the 4 persons found existing in the world. So from here you find that there are different types of person in the world, and it's very hard to tell a person from the looks. Of course, this is concerning the Dhamma, whether that person is really one who understands the Dhamma or one who does not understand the Dhamma. And it is very hard from looking at that person to tell. So this is more like concerning monks. It's hard to tell whether a monk actually, for example, is an Arya or not an Arya from the looks. Sometimes the looks are very deceiving, and it's better for a lay person not to judge a monk, because the Buddha said in one of the suttas that a wise man can judge a fool, but a fool cannot judge a wise man. So because of that, it's better not to despise a person from the looks. Sometimes one who looks very impressive is not necessarily one who has substance, and sometimes one who looks unimpressive is also not necessarily one without substance. Now I come to the Sutta 4.11.110. Monks, there are these 4 snakes. What 4? The fierce but not venomous, the not fierce but venomous, the one that is both fierce and venomous, and the one that is neither fierce nor venomous. Just in the same way, monks, these 4 persons resembling snakes are found existing in the world. What 4? The fierce but not venomous, the not fierce but venomous, the one that is both fierce and venomous, and the one that is neither fierce nor venomous. And how is a person fierce but not venomous? In this case, monks, a certain person is quick to anger, but his anger lasts not long. Thus is this person fierce but not venomous. And how, monks, is a person not fierce but venomous? In this case, a certain person is not quick to anger, but his anger lasts long. Thus is that person not fierce but venomous. And how, monks, is a person both fierce and venomous? In this case, a certain person is quick to anger, and his anger lasts long. Thus is this person both fierce and venomous. And how, monks, is a person neither fierce nor venomous? In this case, a certain person is neither quick to anger, nor does his anger last long. Thus is this person neither fierce nor venomous. Just as that snake that is neither fierce nor venomous, so using this figure do I speak of this person. So these monks are the 4 persons resembling snakes that are found existing in the world. This is one of those little humorous suttas again. Here when the Buddha said fierce, it means a person who is quick to anger. And then venomous means a person whose anger lasts a very long time. You can see this very clearly in persons also, in a lot of people. So in the same way, we also have to examine ourselves to see what kind of snake we are. Now I come to another sutta, 4.12.111. Now Kesi, the horse trainer, came to visit the Exalted One. And on coming to him, he saluted the Exalted One and sat down at one side. As he sat thus, the Exalted One said this to Kesi, the horse trainer. You yourself, Kesi, are a trained man, a trainer of horses for driving. Now Kesi, pray, how do you train a tameable horse? And he said, as for me, your honor, I train a tameable horse by mildness, also by harshness, also by both mildness and harshness. But suppose, K.C., the Buddha said, a tameable horse does not submit to your training by mildness, nor to the training by harshness, nor yet to the training by both methods. What do you do? In such a case, Your Honor, I destroy him. Why so? With the idea, let him not be a discredit to my teacher's clan. However, Your Honor, the Exalted One is unsurpassed as a trainer of men for driving. Pray, Your Honor, how does the Exalted One train a tameable man? I'll just stop here for a while to make a comment. Here, K.C. He says he's trained his horses by mildness, that means a soft approach, and then by harshness, means a hard approach. Maybe the mild approach is maybe he gives sweets or something that the horse likes to eat, so that the horse will listen to him. And the harshness, maybe if the horse doesn't listen, maybe he'll whip the horse. And if using both these methods, the horse still cannot be trained, then he says he destroys the horse, he kills the horse, because he doesn't want his reputation to be spoiled, or his teacher's reputation to be spoiled. So now he asked the Buddha, how does the Buddha train a tameable man? And the Buddha answered, for my part, K.C., I too train a tameable man by mildness, also by harshness, also by both together. This, K.C., is the way of mildness. Thus is good conduct in body. Thus is the result of good conduct in body. Thus is good conduct in speech. Thus is the good result of good conduct in speech. Thus is good conduct in mind. Thus is the result of good conduct in mind. Thus are devas and thus are men. And this, K.C., is the way of harshness. Thus is bad conduct in body. Thus is the result of bad conduct in body. Thus is bad conduct in speech. Thus is the result of bad conduct in speech. Thus is bad conduct in mind. Thus is the result of bad conduct in mind. Thus is the hell realm. Thus is the animal realm. Thus is the realm of ghosts. And this, K.C., is the way of both mildness and harshness. Thus is good conduct in body, speech and mind. Thus is the result thereof. Thus is bad conduct in body, speech and mind. Thus is the result thereof. Thus are devas and men. Thus is the hell realm. Thus is the animal realm. Thus is the realm of ghosts. I'll stop for a while here to explain a bit. So here the Buddha is saying that using the soft approach, the mild approach, he teaches that good conduct of body, speech and mind will result in being born as a deva or being born as men in the human realm. And then the way of harshness, the hard approach, is to teach that by bad conduct in body, speech and mind, the three karmas, we can be reborn in the hell realm, the animal realm, or the realm of ghosts. One thing you notice in the suttas, in our original four Nikayas, that when the Buddha talks about the woeful planes, it's always three, the hell realm, the animal realm, and the ghost realm. In the suttas, in the original suttas, the asura planes are not considered a woeful plane. The asuras are devas, heavenly beings. It's only the later books that put the asuras into the woeful planes. Then K.C. said, but Your Honor, if the man for training won't submit to the training by mildness, by harshness, nor to the two together, pray, what does the Exalted One do? In such a case, K.C., I destroy him. Then K.C. said, but surely the Exalted One does not take life, and yet the Exalted One spoke thus, I destroy him, K.C. True it is, K.C., that taking life does not become of a Tathagata. Yet if the man to be trained submits not to the training by mildness, by harshness, or both together, then the Tathagata thinks it not worthwhile to admonish that man, nor do his wise fellows in the holy life think it worthwhile to admonish that man. This, Kesi, is destruction for a man in the discipline of the Aryan, when both the Tathagata and his fellows in the holy life think it not worthwhile to admonish him. Then Kesi said, destroyed indeed, your honor, is a man by the welfarer, when both the Tathagata and his fellows in the holy life think it not worthwhile to admonish him. It is wonderful, your honor, it is marvelous. May the Exalted One accept me as a follower from this day forth, as long as life lasts, as one who has taken refuge with him. So in this, the last part, the Buddha says that a monk who does not submit to the training, he does not listen to advice, then the Buddha will not give him the advice, will not give him the teaching, and this is considered death in the Aryan discipline. Why death? Because he cannot progress. If he is not given advice, he is not given teaching by the Buddha or by his teacher, that means he cannot progress spiritually, and that is death for him in the Aryan discipline. It is also considered death in the Aryan discipline when a monk disrobes, goes back to lay life, goes back to the low life. That is also a death in the Aryan discipline. Also when he breaks one of the major precepts, when he breaks one of the major precepts, that means the parajikas, the very heavy precepts, if he breaks it, then he's considered no more a monk, even though he wears the robe. I think that is more correct rather than just to say that he disrobed, that he's actually fallen into the gravest offense for a monk and then disrobed. So in the spiritual life, it is a teacher is considered very important. If we don't have a teacher to learn under, then we cannot progress. And the Buddha said that if your teacher guides you so that your sila, samadhi and panya increase, then you should follow him for the rest of your life. The Buddha said somewhere in one of the suttas. But if his sila, samadhi and panya is worse than yours, lower than yours, then you should run away from him. This stated in another sutta. So you see, this is another one of those suttas where the Buddha used a simile in a kind of humorous way to teach the Dhamma.